Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Bud Light. Bud Light sales are getting destroyed, absolutely obliterated. Bud Light this past week, reporting on the week from the week ended June 17th, shows that Bud Light sales are actually down 31.1%. That is the highest number down, and that is the volume of beer in bottles and cans that is not being sold. Their revenue is down 28.5% from last year, and the difference is because they raised their prices, so it didn't hurt them quite as bad on the revenue. But 28.5% is still really, really terrible. 31.1%, of course, is even worse. They're in the beer business. They're supposed to be making and selling beer. If everything goes right, that number's actually supposed to go up, not down 31.1%. And that number comes from Bump Williams directly. I had to contact them and ask them to please add me to their email list reporting their weekly data, because if I rely on Daily Mail and I rely on New York Post, they don't actually always give you the volume number. They like to put in the sales number, which I don't like the sales number. It's, first of all, not as bad as the volume number, and we want to put out the worst news we possibly can when we're talking about a brand like Bud Light, but it's also the most accurate number, because if they're not physically selling the beer, that's what makes the big difference. It means they don't exist in the marketplace. They can raise the prices all they want, but if they keep selling less and less and less of the physical actual beer, they're not even a part of the marketplace. Let's get into the story and go into some more detailed numbers. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get to 25,000 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, please do subscribe. So here are the numbers from Bump Williams. Really friendly guy, by the way, great people. He gave us the numbers across total U.S. outlets for off-premise sales as measured by NielsenIQ for the week ending June 17th, 2023. Year-to-date, Bud Light still remains the beer category leader. Keep in mind what year-to-date means. Year-to-date means January 1st through today, June 27th, although that was really June 17th's sales. The Dylan Mulvaney promotion just came out April 1st, and then sales started to drop off right from there. So it's only still been a couple of months, but it's caused tremendous damage to the Bud Light brand and to their sales permanently. Number one, year-to-date, Bud Light remains the beer category leader on a year-to-date basis with the following scorecard versus the number one competitor, Modelo Especial, though we do continue to see fractional share points shaved off the running totals for Bud Light. Bud Light's dollar share of beer year-to-date is 8.8%. Their volume share of beer is 10.6%. Modelo Especial's dollar share is 8%. Their volume share is 6.7%. So year to date, Bud Light is still ahead. It's losing more and more as weeks go on. And of course, they're not going to make it through 2023 as the number one beer, especially when people reject the brand the way they do. In the latest 4 weeks, across that time frame, across all U.S. outlets, with the week ended June 17th, we see Modelo Especial maintain the advantage in dollar sales while Bud Light remains ahead on volume sales. Why would Bud Light be ahead on volume sales? Well, maybe it's because Bud Light is giving their beer away for free to as many places as they can. Literally free promotions, including a new promotion through July 4th, where they're giving away more free beer. You know, if you're going to give it away for free, then you should be number one on volume. They shouldn't even be able to count those free sales. They're giving it away for free. It's like free samples, except that the rebates, the way they're organized, come through the corporation, not through the local store that you'd buy it at. So technically, it's sold at the store and then rebated by the corporation, so they get to count the free sales as if they were real sales. There's actually no big note about that on Bump Williams' numbers. I think I'll send him an email and ask him to maybe estimate how much do you think of Bud Light's numbers are equal to free beer? Because even though you can't account for it, we don't know what those numbers are. Perhaps there should be a little bit of a note about it because their volume at Bud Light is being pumped up by giving the beer away for free. Modelo Especial is not giving away their beer for free. They're actually selling it. Bud Light is ahead in volume. Modelo Especial now is ahead in revenue. In the latest 1 week, Bud Light's revenue change is down 28.5%. Modelo Especial is up 8.6%. Bud Light's volume is down 31.1%. Modelo Especial is up 4.5%. Additional Anheuser-Busch brands like Natural Light, Budweiser, down. Budweiser down 12.3% for revenue, 15.5% for volume. Really shocking to see how high these volume numbers are. If they're doing these free promotions, and they're doing aggressive free beer promotions, how is it that they can't get their volume up? People don't even want it for free. So a fascinating summary from the Bump Williams people. And again, big thanks to those guys. Anson Fredericks has been doing interviews. He really knows what he's doing. He was at Anheuser-Busch and was the president for distribution for more than 10 years. And he, of course, is saying that Anheuser-Busch has lost sight of who its customer is. And you have to wonder, they don't seem to care who their customer is. You've probably seen this recent promotion that they've continued to do where they're sponsoring, like they did the Dylan Mulvaney thing and then they canceled that. Fine. Now they're sponsoring raunchy pride shows after trying to salvage their image. Who wants to be associated with this? Again, people that might want to jump into a bathtub with Dylan Mulvaney might not mind being associated with these kinds of really outrageous promotions. But regular people who normally would drink their beer, no, they don't want to have the association with that. They're not interested in being connected to that. Bud Light is trying to do whatever they can to maintain their brand. I've been talking about how they're giving away free beer. So they've done another free beer promotion to try to get their 4th of July sales to be as close to where they used to be as possible. It's just, of course, it's not going to work. It didn't work for Memorial Day. It's not going to work for July 4th. Bud Light is in such a bad state, it's reportedly giving away free beer for the 4th of July. America will celebrate its independence next Tuesday, and Americans around the country are ready to roll. Lots of parties will get started this weekend. Bud Light wants consumers to drink its beer. As we know, Bud Light sales, of course, have fallen off a cliff since going woke, teaming up with Dylan Mulvaney. Look, if you want to sponsor a Pride Parade, it's one thing. You have to have control over what's going on with your brand associated at any event. It doesn't matter if it's Pride or what the event is. This event, they had naked adults running around in front of children. You can't do that. Of course, Bud Light is still in major trouble. In an attempt to salvage its situation, Bud Light is offering a $15 rebate for purchases of a 15-pack of Budweiser, Bud Light Budweiser Select, or Budweiser Select, according to Newsweek. The outlet reported the rebate won't just make the beer cheaper, it will straight up make it free. Bud Light has previously run rebates since falling off a cliff thanks to the Dylan Mulvaney disaster. The fact Bud Light will still be doing it going into July is a sign of just how bad the situation is. Going woke has destroyed the once popular beer brand. If you go into your local supermarket, anywhere that they sell beer, you will see it is stacked up like crazy. It's not just one picture here or one picture there. It's really wherever you go. If you see a package missing, it's almost like, wow, who bought that? You're not going to see people putting Bud Light in their shopping carts. They're just not doing it. Budweiser either. Bud Light used to be a brand that was viewed as a very safe choice if you just wanted to kick back at a bar. It was borderline impossible to be at a party or tailgate and not see a bunch of people drinking Bud Lights. Not anymore. Buying the once popular light beer at this point is a great way for your friends to crack a few jokes at your expense. Lots of people do not want to be seen with it. The sales data is brutal. This article now reviews the 28.5% drop off in revenue. Of course, we know that it's 31.1% also in volume. Even more shocking considering the incredible promotions they're doing, making the beer essentially free or free in as many places as possible just to maintain their business. And as a strategy, I think it's a good business strategy to make the beer free. Because really, if you want to get a sense of what is the future of your brand, are you going to be able to get people to buy it at all at any price? Free is the ultimate price to be able to distribute your stuff and get it out to people. Doesn't mean it's going to be profitable. It doesn't mean they can continue to do it for free, but it gives them as much possible market penetration as they could possibly get. If they charged more than free, they wouldn't get as much distribution and they wouldn't get as much volume. But after you've given it away for free and people still don't want it, what are you supposed to do? The answer is they have to shrink the business and proactively shrink the brand and let their distributors know that times have changed. They need to shrink the beer. They will support it as much as they can. They will support it where it still seems to be selling relatively well or sort of okay. If it's off 31.1% nationally for volume, that means in some markets it's off 60%, 70%, 40%, but in other markets, 10%, 15%, even as little as 5%. Okay, so they need to communicate that with their distributors. Let their distributors know, look, on a national trend, this is where we're at. This is where we're at on a local and regional trend. You're in this region. We want to work with you to build the business. But realistically, we're not in a position to be able to make this a national brand anymore, which they just aren't. It's incredible to see this become you don't normally see. And I can't in recent marketing memory think back to when I've seen a regional brand go national. That's normal. But to see a national brand collapse back to regional, I can't think of that. But that is what Bud Light is. They love it at the Pride Parade. They love it up in Toronto where they're running around with drag queens and people are naked in the streets. They love it. They're wearing t-shirts. The people who do have clothes on, they're cool with it. Okay, well, if they can make money selling there, then they can keep selling it there. But they ain't going to sell it to me. And they're probably not going to sell it to you. And they're not going to sell it to a lot of people. And it's no longer a mass marketed product. It just isn't. It can't be. And there's another aspect to this. There are people who are willing to buy the beer. There are people who don't care about any of the weird associations. They don't think that way. That is a segment of the market, and they're obviously still buying the beer. Bud Light is benefiting from that now because the word of mouth, according to YouGov polls, is up 175% from where it normally would be. So because people are actually talking about the product, even though they're talking about it in a negative way, to the people who don't actually care that Bud Light has now become a weird Dylan Mulvaney poison brand because they just know it by name, whatever, they don't care. It's actually helping their sales to those people. It actually hurts the brand overall, but for the people that don't care, it helps their brand. Because more people are talking about it. As that dies down, that's going to hurt their sales. As shelf space is no longer available to it because the industry doesn't continue to subsidize and stock a brand that just doesn't sell in many, many locations. As the shelf space goes down, the exposure goes down, the availability goes down, the sales will go down. This is a product that's going to go from a 31.1% drop off to a 60 to 70% drop off, although that could potentially take another year. You could write that down. It's going to happen. They severely damage this brand. It will cost the company billions of dollars. It's not going to put them out of business, but it's a great example of go woke, go broke. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Did you think that sales would be off this bad? Did you think the boycott would just keep going? Do you agree with me? It's not really a boycott. It's now been rebranded to the kind of people who either want to run around naked at a parade or the kind of people that want to jump into a bathtub with Dylan Mulvaney. Not everyday people, not mass market people anymore. Really love to see your ideas. Let me know what you think. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.